I think if you're watching this video today and you feel like I do sometimes around frustration around bullshit or lack of authenticity, the key is to spark authenticity and spark real conversations, to be vulnerable and share your failures. I've been very open and honest on this vlog and in my content around the failure, the epic failure that was my first agency. Although I was on the cover of magazines as 40 under 40 and my agency was Agency of the Year, it was horseshit. Now, were we doing good work? Yes. But we weren't being honest about the operations and the behind the scenes stuff. Now, you don't need to spread that all over the place, but you should find your group and be honest with them about how it's really going, because that's where the real help comes in. So if you're watching this today, share your struggles. Make comments below and share maybe some things you're struggling with in your business and maybe in your life as an entrepreneur or even as an employee. Share your struggles below. Let's start a conversation because maybe something you're struggling with someone else has figured out, and then they can help you, and then maybe you can help them. I think that would be good. So just put your comments below here somewhere. I don't know, that was weird. That's kind of weird to put that up there. I don't usually do that, but I felt it was appropriate as we were coming to speak today to show a video of, like, when I got asked to do this, it's like I talk about this stuff, so I was very honored. Thank you for having me. Mark, thanks for having me. I'm from Calgary, originally from a small town called Brockville, Ontario. Anyone know where that is? No fucking way. That's awesome. Did you get in a fight when you were there? Well, probably. This is weird, but it's John, right, from Fully Managed? Sometimes this is weird to start my conversation off this way, but I run events and do things, and it's always so lame, the applause they get for doing things like this, because without them paying for this, it wouldn't happen. And so, number one, I just want to say thank you, John, and to your crew for doing this, because it's those little things and the Creative Morning crew to go out and find those people. So let's actually give them a really thank you. And keep doing that and giving back to creative places like this, because this is what makes the world go around. We don't need more intelligence and more knowledge. I think we need more creativity. It's true. Yes. Amen. One person like that. Who's from Peru? Who's from? Oh, I need to press the space bar. Sorry. Yeah, you need to see more of me. Ryan Gill shares is, if you want to hear more of me, cool. If after this talk you don't want to hear more of me, don't follow, because I put out a ridiculous amount of stuff. But who's from Peru? This is cool for me to be here because, humble brag, which I'm cool with, I've been sponsoring a little girl named Eva from Peru since I turned the corner from being selfish to trying to be a giver. And I was about in my early 20s. I'm 41, 42 now. And so she is now almost 20 or something like that. And I can't wait to go there someday. So I'm going to give my all today, kind of pretending that I'm talking to Eva. So thank you. It kind of touched me when she said she was from here. Who was the last guy that spoke here? He was a musician?
We had a female Squamish matriarch,
Who?
and then before that was Dan.
So he played and he sang, right? And so he was like a rock band or singer-songwriter. I'm not, but you said I'm a rapper, so I'm going to start with a rap. My name is Ryan Gill. I like the lyrics is about creativity. I'm serious. If I don't start reading these words, I'll get delirious. No, I'm not going to do it. I was thinking I could do something, but no, I won't. You kind of read the bio. In 2000, I started in the agency business, advertising agency business. Before that, for a very short time, I was a teacher. But in my early years, I wanted to be either a journalist or a teacher, and now I kind of get to do both of those things, and it's kind of cool. But for a couple years, I worked at an agency. Then I thought I could do it on my own. Two of my friends that worked at the agency together, we went out on our own and started a company called Suitcase Interactive. Ran that for almost 11 years, and talk about lack of honesty. I kind of talked about it in that video. We built a great company, a great agency. It ended up getting sold. But for many years, it was just literally failing. I had a job, not a company. And it was this fake facade that I was putting out there that kind of worked. So weirdly enough, but it's not sustainable. And so I ran that company for years, basically ran into the ground, got saved. Another company bought me. And then for the last, that was around 2012. And then for the last, what would that be, 8 years, I've been the president of a company called Collective. I am just stepped down from that about a year ago. I'm still the chairman of that company. It still is running. It's doing great. To start a new thing called Communo. I'm not here to do a commercial about it, but it's a fun new contingent workforce platform using technology to connect work and agencies to creatives and creatives to agencies. And it's a closed community. There's no clients allowed. It's only for the creative community. And it acts kind of like a co-op. The really cool thing about it is, sure, it's technology, but I fought early and really hard with my investors in the early days to make sure we had in real life meetups and something I call compounds. So co-working is nothing new. You guys all know about it. We have those compounds. We have one in Toronto, one in Calgary, and some friends of mine here, we're going to actually look for a place in Vancouver today after this talk. So we will be opening it up here. So I'm excited. Why I tell you about Communo is because my talk, then I called this talk after that company, and the name of my talk is I Have No Clue What I'm Doing. And it's cool because some people that work with me and for me are here today, and they're probably like, holy shit, I followed that guy, and he's saying he has no clue what he's doing, but no shit. I just started doing this less than 2 years ago. Why should I front like I'm a vet? Or like I know what I'm doing? Fuck no. I don't. That's the exciting part about it. But so many people don't carry that honesty. It feels so great to say that, even with some new people I just met that have joined my company, and we've come together. It's when I was thinking about giving this talk, I'm like, should I say it? Because they're there. Like, this is like their first or second day. I think by the end of this, they'll even be more pumped about this, because I think what I'm about to talk about today affects a lot of people. But it feels so great to say that, because the moment you say that you have no clue, it allows you to walk into creativity and curiosity and hunger to learn more. I think, by the way, I don't do slides. I stopped doing them because it stressed me out. My favorite rapper is Eminem, which is weird. I know I'm a white guy, but I think he's I think he's the GOAT. I have a lot of other, some of my other favorite rappers, but I won't go into them. But he always just scribbled stuff down. So I used to do slides and stuff, and it got me stressed out, planned. So I usually do it on the plane on my way here, and that's why I do this. He used to scribble, so I'm trying to be like him. But it's fun to walk into that. It's fun to walk into that unknown, because I think that's where creativity blossoms. And if you're sitting here today and you're thinking about going out on your own, and you share my feeling of, I have no clue what I'm doing, but it's exciting and I want to do it, that's good. And if you're sitting here today and you're an expert already, that's awesome too, because there's people in this room that know what they're doing and live that. But maybe today you're here, and the first time you heard me say that, it tweaks something to say, man, I maybe want to start something new. And you're worried about, I've worked for years to become an expert in my field, but I'm tempted. I want to try something brand new, but I'm afraid that I'm going to look like an idiot. That's fun. I encourage you to go do that, because that's where creativity blossoms. But you know where creativity dies and curls up is fronting and being fake, because you're always trying to puff yourself up, and often people that are fake talk lots about their own successes all the time and what they've done, and in their first 5 minutes they've told you everything about them, and they haven't asked you one fucking question about yourself. Creative people ask questions. They're creative people, curious people, honest people are the ones you want to be around. And I'm not here to slam anyone, but yes, I am. Later in my notes, I was talking to Dabs to this. I was going to cross this thing out, but part of me sometimes wants to, when those people are doing that, I want to call them out in front of other people. I won't do it because I'm a nice guy, but sometimes I want to call them out because I think it's the only thing that will break it in them, because they're working so hard. Maybe you're working so hard. I've been there too, by the way. I'm not preaching about anything that I haven't been the big I guess, the biggest sinner in. I was that guy, and I'm so glad that I'm not that anymore. But when I see it, it makes me sick, and so I want to like slap the person. Like, wake up. No one likes that. No one likes it. Why are you trying to front? And so one of my things, I want to start calling them out, but I probably won't. But I think the only reason why I want to is because they're trying so hard to front in front of others. If I can just expose them quick and say, it's not that bad. You don't know shit. It's okay. We're doing something new. So for those in the room right here today that are doing something new, or you're doing something a new way, just lean into that curiosity. Leadership with honesty is what people will follow. Leadership for me, the word leadership comes down to one word: influence. I want to lead and influence the people around me, not just in business. Excuse me. I literally always burp on stages. Might as well just be honest about it. I try to hide it, but I don't know why. It's very awkward. I'm sweating. I'm not. I want to lead and influence those around me to embrace curiosity, to say, I don't know. We've got a team here, and we're building this new platform, and we don't want to build another job board or another. We want to build something new and innovative, and of course, we have to say all the time, we have ideas, but we don't know. I think when you lean into I don't know, that honesty, it just brings so much excitement and true creativity. And so I think my influence, I hope, and your influence should be around that honesty, and you attract others that say, I don't know. Rather than attracting a bunch of know-it-alls, which we all know is not the funnest thing to be around, that fake confidence. I think there's nothing wrong, and it's so reasonable to live that life of I don't know. I love this quote, and I'll say it twice, but opportunity is missed by most people because it's dressed in overalls and looks like work. Thomas Edison wrote that. I have another Thomas Edison quote in my office. But I love Thomas Edison because he's such a real, honest guy from what I've studied. But again, opportunity is missed by most people because it's dressed in overalls and looks like work. Why it's relevant to this talk today and why it means so much to me, because I think what he's saying is it's okay to say I don't have a clue, but I'm excited by the opportunity and the hard work it's going to be required to make that opportunity come true. And I think of things like Creative Mornings. I didn't know much about it. When I got invited, I started digging in. It's such an amazing movement. And 100%, I don't know the people that started it, but 100%, they probably wanted to give up many times. And if you're feeling like that today, I don't care if you're 60, 70, 20, 30, we all go through that. And I think the superpower to that, to get back up, is to be like, fuck, I don't know. And then you start to go into things like trying to connect with people like you were talking about. I think what this whole thing is about is a whole bunch of people in here that are curious to say, I don't know what I'm doing in this area. Now listen, I'm not saying don't be an expert. I love expertise. I love the practice of expertise. I think you should do that. But I think today in my talk about honesty, maybe try something new. If you're older, maybe try social media. Stop waxing poetic about how it used to be, because fuck, if my kids, we're going to be thankful for social media. They're going to be on their VR, and it's like they're going to be gone to somewhere, and it's going to be awesome. We're going to be like, remember the days we were just on social media? But embrace something new. It's just not handed to you, is what Edison's saying. Go out there and learn. It's going to be hard. You certainly aren't qualified when you start something new. And I think that fronting just ruins your chance to even make it. So I have no clue what I'm doing. It's true. But I'm not afraid, because I've built a framework and a formula that I'm going to share with you today. How am I doing for time, Mark? Good? I want to get to the questions. That's my most exciting part of this. So it's working for me for years. And my path to confidence and honesty is it's an alliteration, so it's kind of cheesy. But connection, community, and confidence. And so the first one, when it comes to true connection, does anyone follow Brene Brown's stuff? I love her. So I had her at the Gathering, and I founded an event called The Gathering, which you're all invited to. Brad, are you here?
Brad's the managing director of it. He's in our Vancouver office here. And it's the gathering of the most courageous brands in the world and their speakers. Today, Mark, I'll do this for you guys. I think the tickets are like $1,700 right now, but today we'll do them for like the lowest price. Brad, whatever they are, we'll make up a code to give back to people here. But why am I talking about? Oh, Brene Brown spoke last year. She was our keynote. And she talked about vulnerability. I love when I go off on a tangent. I'm like, what the hell was I saying? Yes, Brene Brown spoke about vulnerability. And she talks lots about connecting. And I think we're going to do something fun in a minute here. Because I think people think they need to trust someone before they connect with them. And the research is very clear, very true. It's so overwhelmingly true that you actually need to be vulnerable first, and then trust comes. And so I wanted to do a fun little game. It'll take 2 minutes here. There's in this Harvard study, they use one question basically, and I'm going to butcher it. So if you go Google right now, I probably fucked it up, but it'll work for this. Excuse my language, by the way. Is that okay to swear? I'm trying not to, though. My kids are probably watching. If your house was burning down, your condo, your shack, whatever you live in, your mobile home was burning down right now, and you needed to go in and save something out of it. It can't be your kid. Don't give me any these right. It can't be your kids, their family. They're all out. Your dog's out. Your hamster's out. What would it be, and why? And so the most important part is why. And you're going to turn to the person beside you, and then just, and you only have 30 seconds, so don't again, wax poetic about it. Turn to the person beside you, even if you've been married for 14 years. Tell them what would you choose and why, and we're going to play a little game. This question, actually, when they did it in the Harvard study, maybe it might happen here. They did it, I think it was 1,000 people or something like that, and like 7 of them, so 14 of them, got married. So maybe you'll get married today. Or remarry. No. So go ahead. So ask the question. The question is, do it right now. Turn to the person beside you. Your house is burning down. You can save one thing. What is it and why? Go ahead. How's it going? We'll get a code again. $9.99 or whatever. Get notes on it. We'll make them a little roster. It's a lot. What would you do? What would you get to run in your house? Burning down, kids are out, dogs are out. What would you get? This is what comes first in mind. Check. Check. Do whatever comes to your mind first, say that. Just don't think too much. 30 seconds. Kids are out. Your kids are out, your dog's out. It's going to be something else. And why? All right. How much time do I have? All right. I usually, let's bring it back. I usually ask another question, but we're not going to. But write it down, and that person you talk to in the break, ask them what is their biggest dream that they have, and that they haven't went after yet, or something they've wanted to do forever and haven't, and why. So just write that down for afterwards. So what's your biggest dream you have and that you haven't done yet, and why? Why haven't you moved towards that? So it's a fun thing, but it's so counterintuitive. I hope some people that you talked to today and told that to you didn't know. Because I think hopefully it was something cool or fun, might have been funny. Last time I did this, I spoke in Austin, Texas last week or 2 weeks ago, and I did it, and my mic was still on, and the guy came up and asked me, and I was caught off guard. I was like, I'm asking the questions here, fucker. And my mic was still on, and I said, my weed box. I was like, people heard me. I'm like, oh my God, I have a drug problem. I don't. So I said, it's because I work so hard, I need to relax. That's why I don't. I hope did that, and then next time you see that person, Johnny, Joe, whoever, Gill, next time you see them, I think it's a cool thing to be like, they told you something, probably something important or something funny. And it's just the moment to turn to someone and say hi. I start every speech at this event, the gathering in Banff every year, giving that speech to say, just say hi to someone at this event. If you're an introvert, I get it, that's cool. I was telling Mark on the plane back here, I'm really an extrovert until it gets above 20 people. So like today, I'll probably like go hide. It's weird. I'm extroverted at the office and things like that, but I'm actually speaking to myself when I'm at those events. Just say hi to someone, and it's a powerful thing and what can come from it. So remember what that person said to you. Next time you see them, say, "How's your weed box?" Right? It's a good little exercise. When you get that true connection, the next C is you have true community. Once you have true connection and you're vulnerable first and you display that generosity to someone first, you gain their trust, you can have true community. My definition of community is as follows, and not in the dictionary, it's just Ryan Gill shares. I'll plug for my social. Ryan Gill's definition of community is when you're in the valley or when you're down, you're depressed, something bad's happened, you don't have the strength to get up or even text them or call them. If you have a true community, they know and they're running towards you to help you. It gives me goosebumps because when we started Communo, that was my one goal, to build community. I didn't want to build a technical platform. I wanted to build something that in real life people could actually connect. Of course we need technology. 8 months into Communo, one of our members joined. He had like a 3 or 4 person shop. I met them at our summit. We have in real life meetups. And his name was Kevin. And he's a rock climber, told me all about it. Met him. I was like, he's pumped about his business, met his business partner. And 2 weeks later, he died rock climbing. Yep. What do you do as a business partner? You just started a business. Well, I could fucking shut down Communo right now because of what happened. I asked if I could tell the community, thousands of people across our network. And by the way, our network's about 300 people right now. It's very small. We're growing. We have a big announcement. It's going to grow by a lot soon. But that network of 300 agencies and stuff is about 6,000, 7,000 people. And we sent it out. And the overwhelming outpouring of love for people that didn't know him, but he was in community and we share. They took over his business for him. It's not going to make it better. It's not going to bring Kevin back. But him sitting in our office the next week crying, just saying, man, this saved my life, was amazing. Now, let's talk about something good. Community is also the other side of the coin, is when you win and you have a big win or something great happens, you run back to them and they're more excited than you are. That's true community. They're not jealous. They're not, oh, I wish that was me. He got lucky. She got lucky. No, they're like, that's the best thing I've ever heard. And it's when you feel that, it's so amazing. That's community. So when you have connection, and I challenge you, and it's around honesty, when you have true connection, you can get community. And when you get community, you get confidence. Because confidence, in my opinion, comes from options. I'll say it again. Confidence comes from options. If you lack confidence because you don't know where else to go, you don't have, and when you're not honest and you're a rugged individualist, you don't have those options. You don't have people to go to. You're scared. You're going to lose it. You squeeze tight on life rather than living an open life. And so once you get that true connection with people, you settle into a community. It can be 4 people. It can be 2,000 people. I don't care what it is. But why I want to share this part about confidence is that once you have that true confidence options, you become this super confident, and that you walk this fine line. I know people think I'm arrogant, and I'm just not. I'm confident. I have options. I'm not worried about offending. I never want to offend people. I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about losing a big deal or whatever because I'll get another one because I'm in community. I'm not going to get lost. I'm not going to be stuck because I have a community. And I want that. It's really cool to be here today because I think you have it here. I can feel it. And so the last point, is that cool? I have 1 minute left. I want to close with one thing. It's maybe a quick head whip or a bit, how do I finish with this? I want to make sure to leave you something. Sometimes I get asked, hey, Ryan, come and bring some practicality in your talk. I know that's the right thing to say. I actually think it's impossible. Sometimes I speak to 1,000 people. How can I give practicality to 200 people here or whatever people are here? I can't. I actually think what you need is inspiration, and that's why I'm not an inspirational speaker. I'm actually a businessman. I just do this because I like it. It's fun. But I want to give you inspiration to go do what you do and whatever your unique ability is. So I want to leave you with one thing. What is your unique ability? What are you good at that no one else is good at? It's like kind of 1 in a million. You know what it is. And I want you to also know what you're bad at, because they're almost usually, I don't know who feels this, but usually your strength is like almost your biggest weakness too. Anyone else agree with that? So I want you to just double down on that. If today you leave here and you're like, I'm just going to do what I'm awesome at, and I'm going to do whatever I believe I just can do that no one else can do, and I'm just going to double, triple down on that, and then just leave behind what you're bad at. And I'll share another thing with Mark. You can share it. I'm part of something called Strategic Coach. Has anyone ever heard of that? It's a really awesome program. And I hate coaches usually because they're generalists, but this company is way different. It's out of Chicago. And they have to be a coach, you have to actually still be a business person. Anyways, one thing they do is the unique ability test, and they say you can't actually call your unique ability. So I just told you to do something, and then I'm saying you can't actually do it. What I mean is you should know what that is deep down, but then I'm going to send you an email, a template that they all can send to their, and it's got to go to like 5 to 7, 10 friends of yours in your inner circle. Basically, it's going to easily ask them, what do you think is my unique ability? And then they're going to write back, and then you're going to build a little matrix. And I want you to, it's going to be awesome because I think it will reaffirm what you're good at. And if you just do that, I promise people, your life will take off. That's all I have to say. Thank you so much for having me. I have books for sale. I'm actually going to give them away today, and I'm going to say, because we don't have a machine, go to Amazon and buy one if you take one for free and give it to someone else. But I have a book called Fix, that I wrote 3 years ago, and I have another one called Community Inc. If you want one, and if you don't want to buy it, you can have it too, but I have like 10 or 15 up here, or 20. So thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Looking for hands, or we're all going home.
I'll jump in. Thank you, Ryan. That was really interesting.
Thank you. What's your name?
Karen.
Karen.
Hi.
What's up, Karen?
I've been thinking a lot about vulnerability, and sometimes it's easier to be vulnerable than others.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes, I can admit I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, but sometimes it's harder, right? And can you share, I have a feeling, and maybe take this the wrong way, I have a feeling it's relatively easy for you to admit that you don't know what you're doing. I have a feeling that there's a harder, more vulnerable moment that maybe you'd like to share.
Well, so first of all, 100% it's not easy. This one is because it's so true, but when it comes to vulnerability, there's levels. So it's easy for me to stand up here and say things, what I'm talking about when it comes to business, because I think business is a game. I don't think we should take it so seriously. If my businesses fail, don't worry, guys, they're not going to. But I'm not. It's not me. Like I've failed in business before. I'm okay. We're not our businesses. So when it comes to business, I feel very okay about being vulnerable, and I seem to attract others that do. It's a funny thing when you're just yourself, you attract others that are like you. Let's talk about levels of vulnerability. I was sexually abused when I was 12 years old. I just did my origin story with Dabs. It took me, carried that for at least 12 years, I think, until it basically crushed me. And so you heard I was in the hospital from 1 to 6 years old. And funny enough, here's being vulnerable. That hospital that saved my life, years later when I went back, I got a head injury playing soccer. I was abused there. And it's crazy for years, and I don't know if people in this room that's happened to you would probably be astonished if I asked people to put their hands on how many people have been. On the outside, no one would have known, but it's crazy that I actually thought it was I did it for years. Like, I'm a confident guy, I'm successful. Even later, I thought I still did it. I came up with all these reasons why I was the one that did it. And I finally came out, told someone, then got some help and walked through it, and I'm healed now, healed up inside. But it's funny, back to vulnerability, I'm doing my origin story with Dabs here, back in my hometown. People are wondering who I am, so I tried to tell the story from when I was little to now, to let people know it's a bunch of twists and turns. And we went back to that hospital, and we recorded it, and we talked, and then I was like, man, because now I'm sharing it with everyone, right? And I'm like, I still don't know. This is being, I asked him to cut it. I didn't want to share it because I was like, then because if it gets out there, now I got to go back and I might have to deal with some legal stuff. And I'm just like, I don't want to do it. But then we've talked about it more, and I think I'm going to put it back in because people need to hear it, and I'm going to have to face that. So levels of vulnerability for sure. It's really hard to stand up here and try to make this entertaining and interesting, but also talk about those things. You can't get into all of it. So yeah, I think my answer to that is levels, and it's okay when you're ready. But I will say, on the business side, please just do it. Honestly, you have nothing to lose. Thank you, Karen. Karen? Yeah.
Hey, I'm Gordon.
What's up, man?
Thanks for being so open.
I
had a question about leadership, because I've been thinking a lot about that for a long time now, but something changed for you where, like, obviously you're still an inspiring person despite not knowing what you're doing, when maybe we all think leadership is about confidence and certainty and vision. Can you just talk about leadership and some of that tension?
I think it's all about those things, and I feel like I walked into my true leadership only like 6 or 7 years ago, and it is about confidence, leadership, and or vision and confidence. But I think that confidence comes from what I talked about, of like not knowing, and people like that, and it was a big light switch for me. Now, do I know how to run a P&L? Yes. Do I know it? Like, I need to be confident about some stuff, but I think for me as an entrepreneur and a startup person, for me, my big thing was also knowing my unique ability that I talked about at the very end, that I used to think I was ashamed of myself in a way that once my companies would get 6, 7, 8 years old, I would literally be bad at it. I was just like, and I didn't like it. And I was talking with Mark on the plane last night in our new startup. I said, I'll probably be only the CEO for 4 or 5 years. It's just beyond that, I'm not good. And I used to think that was embarrassing, because I was like, oh, I'm flaky. I'm a starter. I thought that was bad. Now I'm back to that. I'm leaning into that because the world needs starters. And then my shrink told me, he says, if you're not a starter, you've been running. He started listening up. You ran a company for 12 years. You ran the Gathering now for 7. He's like, and it started. I needed to hear from someone else, like, you're good, man. So I think, I still think, I don't want to get it twisted. You still need to be confident and know what you're doing eventually. But what I mean is, in the early days, what I'm trying to knock out is people that puff themselves up. And it's fake, and it's robbing them, and it's robbing people around them from like doing some great work together, because they're putting that wedge.
What about people who are puffy?
You're good, bro.
Okay.
You're married 14 years. She loves you. You're good.
So puffing and...
What's up, man? What's your name?
Hi, I'm Julian.
Hi, I'm Ryan.
It takes a lot of privilege to be able to say, you don't have to fake it, because in a lot of circumstances, in order to even get the opportunity in which you can learn to grow, etc., like, few people have the opportunity to start out as an entrepreneur right away. So instead, they would be like an employee somewhere and to get hired. Like, so 60% of the requirements, that's how much males typically meet before they apply. For women, it's upwards of 80%.
Yeah.
And so one strategy might be get males more honest, and then we can get away with those 3 to 5 years of experience for a junior position.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, so if since that doesn't seem to be happening, instead we have to get people more to be comfortable with this kind of like fake it until you make it, at least initially, right? Like I think there is value to puffing, because it gets you in uncomfortable positions that you just wouldn't be able to if you couldn't, like, not only puff to the employer, but also like to yourself a little bit, like, yeah, I got this. No, you don't, but it's okay.
Yeah.
You know.
Great question. I don't know if I have a good answer, but I'll try. I love that question because I'm working through it myself. First of all, I'm a father of 2 awesome girls, Scarlett and Hallie. Shout out if you're watching. So, and my wife is my hero, and my mom is my hero. And so I'm going to go on a tangent for a minute. So I run the gathering, right? I'm the chairman of it now. And for years, we used to get feedback. This is a total tangent, but I think it's good. We used to get feedback because we would basically honor the most, not the biggest brands in the world, but the bravest brands in the world, the ones people tattoo, like Harley Davidson or Converse or those that we'd bring their CMOs, CEOs to speak. And it's awesome. And then we get feedback and everyone would be like, it was awesome, but there's no fucking women on the stage. And my response used to be, and I slapped myself for this, was like, well, I don't pick them. Like I pick the brands and then I finally, a woman on our board just said, you have to be intentional about it. Back to your point. And we started doing it, and man, it's been amazing to see our stage is dominated by women because it's so easy for a white dude to get inspired by people because there's all white dudes on stage, including me right now. But where are those women? And I'm in a position of power to put them on stage, so I've been intentional, and guess what? It's been amazing. And to have people like Brene Brown and have people, go to the lineup last year, people of color, gay, straight, black, white, man, it was such a good mix. And so for those out there that are in positions of power, just make sure you're intentional, because I was embarrassed before about that. What's that? You have a question? Well, I just want to answer his question. So about the puff-up thing, I stand by it. In business especially. I think you'll find, because I did that for years and it just didn't work. You might have, if you want to go long, you got to be honest. If you want to do it short and be puffed up, and you just won't go that far. I loved even your little story about you were just like, it's beta, we're just getting it going. But there's honesty in that, and you're like, we don't know what we're doing, but that drew me in. I'm like, I'm gonna help you get your early fans. So I don't think I'm right either. I think that's my opinion. I just don't think you don't have to. We could probably maybe me and you can sit afterwards, because we could probably talk for an hour about that. Because it's a tough question. There was a question at the back, and then I'll come to you, Fiona. Question?
Hi, Ryan.
What's your name?
I'm Maxine.
Maxine, what's up?
Camino member.
Oh, are you?
Yeah. Thanks for being here.
Awesome. That's amazing.
My question is, you mentioned at the beginning about your previous companies not being built on a base of honesty. So
Yep.
how have you woven that into Camino and as it grows as well?
Yeah, so actually the reason Mark was making fun of me or joking about my content, as the CEO, I've committed to do a god-awful amount of content. I have a videographer coming out with me, and I basically started doing it because I wanted to show the members. We have members now across North America, and I can't reach them all. But I have a responsibility as the CEO of this company to let them know what's going on. So for me, I'm doing videos and showing everything, meetings, talking to people, what's on my mind, letting them know what's going on. We have member success people that are trolling the platform in the marketplace to find out what I call the takers. And that's our big thing, is like we have this big mural on the side of our building. Check out my Instagram, you can check it out. It's called the Generosity Monster. I employed an artist in town, and we did this 30-foot mural. And if you're not living out generosity on our platform, you're off. And that doesn't mean always giving work or something, but just displaying it and connecting with people and those kind of things. So that vulnerability and honesty on our platform, we're working on. We're actually working with a software engineer to look at something called reputation forecasting, an algorithm that will let people know not what they've done in the past, but what you can expect in the future. So those are things that are really exciting for me, that can keep my community safe. We're going to make 100 mistakes. We already have. We're just doing. I feel like I want to. We have a big announcement. I can't say it, but the people that we're doing the announcement with came in recently, and they're like, they're like, we have so much work to do, but there's so much potential. But we have a lot of work to do on that. But thank you, and nice to meet you. Make sure you come up after. I'll get you a couple books. What's up, Fiona?
Hey.
That's really cool, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I know,
you should all go to the website or whatever and download. Can I do it in Calgary? Anywhere? Or?
Sure. Yeah, actually. I mean,
I'm gonna
we can
do
it
it.
anywhere. Yeah. We'd love to. Anyways, it doesn't matter. Yeah. I'll talk to you after. But I have a practical question around fundraising.
Practical.
Well, it's
I'm joking.
Practical,
I love
but
practical.
it's also relating to what we're talking about.
Yep.
So Hoovie is raising money, and
Awesome.
I'm actually taking a huge leap and risk and
How much are you trying to raise?
1.5 million.
1.5 million. That's not a lot, so let's make that happen.
I'm actually moving down to the Bay Area,
Okay,
to
cool.
the land of vulture capital.
I can make some
which is-
introductions for you.
Oh, amazing.
I'll do that, yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
So my question is around this balance of humility and confidence,
Yep.
because you don't want to pitch investors and be like, know everything. And, humility is very important, and
Right.
it's actually a value to me. But confidence is really, really important, and it's really
course.
important for women. So I'm wondering if you have stories you could share
Yeah.
or advice around fundraising from that perspective.
Yeah, so I went through, I'd always built my businesses organically for my first 15 years or 17 years. So I actually just did my first seed round a year and a half ago. So it was interesting, so we can share some stories. So I'm not an expert, and I'm going into a $10 million raise. Like right now I'm in it, and I have no clue what I'm doing. But it's fun. Rather than a long answer on that, and I'm not trying to put, because I actually talked to one of my investors, Panache Ventures. They're one of the big VC firms in Canada. They're one of our lead investors. I have a show on LinkedIn called Linked Up on LinkedIn, and one episode with Panache Ventures, we actually talk literally about that. The difference in the razor thin line that investors are looking for is if you don't display humility and say stuff like I've said, I don't know what we're doing. You think they want you to hear, I got it all figured out. No, they'll kick you out of their office. But if you can display enough, I am curious and I've done some work and I have a beta and it looks like you're doing stuff. I think that's the confidence. In this episode he talks about is VCs are looking for home runs, right? Most of them. And so they said, we want the founder to have humility it's a difference between ego and confidence, but humility enough to listen to their employees, listen to their investors, listen to their people around them. But also when a $20 million, they start raising this money, $20 million offer comes in to buy Movio, is that right? Yeah. How is it? Movie. When they come and they say, $20 million, Fiona, but your investors, the VCs, wanted you to build $1 billion company, most people should take that $20 million. That's a lot of money. Maybe you walk away with $5 million in your pocket. Literally, most people should take that deal. What the confidence side is, you would just say, no, I'm looking to build whatever for you. I'm looking to build that $1 billion company, so I'm going to walk away from that. That might seem crazy, but that's the confidence I think they're looking for, is that you believe in it so much that whatever your number is or whatever your impact is, you're willing to walk away from offers that are almost there. So that's mine. But watch the episode. It's exactly about that.
We're running a little long, folks, so I'm
Okay.
going to, can we do one quick last question? Is everybody okay for another couple minutes?
One
okay,
right
one
back.
quick question. Heshi? Yeah? Okay, I apologize. Those of you with your hands up, please don't be angry with me, but I need to, in the
I'll
interest of
catch you up.
time, you can send us messages or post us on social questions. Ryan's really good at getting back to you, and I'll kick his ass if he doesn't.
I'd like to see that.
So we just met yesterday on LinkedIn. I watched the show. I absolutely loved it.
The one
My
that I
name
was
is
talking
Roberta.
about?
What that?
What show?
The show where you were talking
LinkedIn
to one of
on
the
Link-
founders from.
Yeah.
It was your first show, right?
Yeah,
so
the first
it was
episode.
great to
Yeah.
connect like so randomly, like
Yes, now I
just the
recognize
day
your face.
before.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to ask you about, and this may be too long of a question to answer in such a short period of time,
I'll try.
was how you navigated working with brands and trusting your vulnerability and your ethics and vetting them to make sure that they shared some of your values.
Yeah.
Is that something that you do? I mean, I know that's more with your past company,
Yep.
but I'm curious how you were able to navigate that, because it seems like you have a real strong sense of what's right.
It's a great question, and it's something I love. A plug for someone, he's actually a BC, not a Vancouverite. He lives in Caslow, but there's a guy named
Blair Enns.
Blair Enns. He has a book called, have you heard about it? His name's Blair Enns, and he has a book called Win Without Pitching. It's an amazing short book called it's a manifesto, Win Without Pitching. I hope everyone's writing it down right now. It will change your life. That book, it's short. You'll read it in like 2 hours. So read that. I don't get involved. I'm just chair of that agency now, so I don't get involved. But literally yesterday, I got involved in one call. It was a big company, and I really I do make sure that I'm the prize or our agency's the prize, not the client. It just isn't. Like they haven't paid you a cent. They might be desirable, but they haven't proven to you that they're great or they're going to be a good client. They're going to treat you with respect. Respect doesn't mean them not kicking your ass, but that you got to be able to kick their ass. So I think it's hugely, is it Roberta? It's about I think early on, just having those conversations. Hey, we're about to start. We're about to sign the deal. But just before we do, just one last thing. We have something I wrote, because I was stepping away from the business. I wrote a whole 15-page deck on rules of engagement to work with Cult. So Cult's my engagement marketing firm that's still running and doing much better without me there. But before I left and handed the reins over to the team, before we start, right before that signature, when we don't tell them it's coming either. I like this. Before we start, yeah, it's been great. We've been talking about how we can serve you, but here's how you can serve us. Because if we do great work together, Dan Lahr, the president of Wyden Kennedy, they've been working with Nike for 30 years. He's like, they have that meeting every year because people come and they're just like, this is how we're going to work for you, do work for you, you're going to pay us. You must obey our rules. And if you don't, we're going to fire you. And then you got to do it a few times. Now, again, back to it's easy to say that when you've made it. And it is tough. It's like, you might have to eat shit for a while. So that's the balance. It's like, you might have to wait till you get there so you can pay your mortgage and stuff. But I think the sooner you get there to that place, the better. But hopefully that helps. Win Without Pitching answers that question totally. And my answer is ripped off from the book, so. You're a good man. Thank you.